Now on CoastTV News.
Stuck on the Nanticoke in icy conditions, what it took to get 6 hunters safely to shore. A metal mystery in Sussex County, shock and questions after an unusual object comes crashing through a home. Power struggle, a proposed rate hike, and the blame game at the center of it.
Dangerous cold for this weekend will now be accompanied with dangerous winds as well.
This is CoastTV News at 11.
We are learning new details tonight about a rescue on the Nanticoke River. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Christina DeVerbertis. That's our top story. 6 waterfowl hunters were rescued from an icy Nanticoke River on Saturday. Maryland DNR says a lot of coordination went into this rescue, and we want to walk you through it. So take a look at this video here. Natural Resources Police say the hunters' boat became disabled on Saturday night on the Nanticoke, stuck on thick ice. They say temperatures were in the teens, also strong winds. Now, local fire crews could not reach the boat because the boat ramps were frozen. So that's when a DNR helicopter was rerouted to help. From the air, crews were able to spot the boat. They lit it up with a spotlight, and hoisting the hunters up was an idea, but that was not going to work because it was just too windy. DNR then called an airboat, which can actually glide over the ice. The airboat made 2 trips, eventually bringing all 6 of those hunters back to shore safely, and no serious injuries were reported, but DNR is reminding boaters to use extreme caution amid these icy conditions. And it is, of course, not just the Nanticoke that's frozen. Waterways up and down the coast look like this, iced over. Coast TV reporter Emma Aiken was in our Coast Copter earlier. She shows us the state of the Delaware Bay.
We went 7 days, 1 full week without getting above the freezing mark. That's the longest stretch since the 2017-2018 winter. Take a look outside from our Coast Copter. You can see a still partially frozen Delaware Bay that's prompted both awe and inconvenience.
Snow and sand molding into one. Holly Hopkins was capturing the moment.
It's just magical, actually, just to see the difference in the transition. And it's still beautiful, but it's a little cold out.
Those freezing temperatures have forced the Cape May Lewis Ferry to cancel several trips over the past 2 weeks. But Director of Ferry Operations Heath Gerke says it was better today.
You can see there's much more open water than what I saw 2 days ago. It was amazing. It was frozen all the way out to the inner break wall, which is probably a mile and a half.
This weekend, though, could be tricky again.
I think what's going to happen is the slushy ice that we have here now is going to freeze solid, and that will be a problem for us. But then again, it's every day is different, and we'll just keep a good eye on it.
And the ferry terminal is right next to the Delaware Pilots Association in Lewis, who tells us they faced similar struggles and had to resort to using the inlet for a couple of days.
Well, we all need transportation, so yes, and I can really see how getting across the bay, and they said it adds so many more hours if you have to drive.
Tugboats are working to help the situation. Sometimes the ferry can break through all of the ice, but other times, like in these recent days, it's just been too much ice. Reporting from our Coast Copter above the Delaware Bay, Emma Aiken, Coast TV News.
And the Delaware Coast Guard tells us they've been working as normal, saying they do have ice-breaking operations to help this situation. The Coast Guard says the main concern has been making sure the buoys stay in place for safe navigation. And this brings us into our Coast TV poll. We're asking, how prepared was your town for winter storms? Let's see here. 36% say fully equipped, 13% moderately prepared. 43% say basic readiness, and only 8% say minimal planning, so that's a good thing. And you can still vote and let us know how your town prepared. Just go to coasttv.com or use our mobile app. Now we're looking live outside into Irish Eyes from Lewis. Our First Alert Chief Meteorologist Paul Williams joins us now with the check on the forecast. Paul, is it going to warm up?
I had no idea, Christina, that you were a stand-up comic. No, it's 20 degrees right now in Milford. That's about as warm as it's going to be for the next few days in a row, to be quite honest. We're going to drop to 19 by late tonight with increasing cloud cover in place for us. Now, we're going to drop even lower than our expected lows. We're already dipping below that. And here's the big deal. We have an extreme cold watch. In effect, that's where the blue is located. Now, you could include us here in the Delmarva area because we're in the same general region anyway. It's going to be that kind of cold where the wind chill is going to drop to like 15 below as we go into the weekend, Saturday going into Sunday. Freezing spray watch is in effect for us over the weekend. And then now we have a newly issued high wind watch. So combining that cold with the wind, that's going to make for a tough weekend.
Thanks, Paul. Investigators trying to solve a puzzling case after a metal object fell through a roof in Sussex County. And Delaware State Police say this is the object. It went through a roof near Georgetown yesterday afternoon. The homeowner says he was inside when he suddenly heard a loud bang. He went outside then to find debris on the ground and a hole in the side of his house. There was also a hole in the roof, leading police to believe the object possibly came from the sky. But DSP says they're still not sure what the object is. The homeowner tells us if that object fell a few feet lower, it would have gone in his bedroom.
Good thing nobody got hit by that, you know. So, and people walk. My wife, she walks 2 to 3 miles a day with the dog. You know, it's probably one time in a lifetime this went up in here, but it did happen.
Yeah, now once again, there's no confirmation on what the object is. Delaware State Police currently investigating the case alongside the FAA. Also, Georgetown police are asking for the public's help in locating this truck you see on your screen now. It was involved in a hit-and-run crash on Sunday, January 22nd at about 9:30 a.m., police say. They tell us the truck hit a building while exiting the circle onto North Bedford Street. Anyone with information should contact Georgetown police. Delaware's Democratic lawmakers are worried about a proposed electric rate increase. If Delmarva Power's proposal is approved, officials say base rates could rise between $9 and $16 per month, or roughly 16% to 24%. That's depending on usage. Democrats say the timing is wrong and the increase is unacceptable, but Republicans argue the blame here is being misdirected, pointing to the state's green energy mandates as the real driver of rising rates, not the utility itself.
As you look at your bill, you will see it's not the usage that is going up, but it is the supply and delivery rates that you will see going up, and those are a direct result of the green energy mandates that have been put into place by the majority party.
Electric is incredibly important. We have people that are at home that are sick, that need their oxygen tanks or heart monitors. So we really need them to go back and look at their books before they try and put another rate hike on our constituents.
According to the state's website, a final decision on this proposed rate hike is not expected until late 2026. In response to the letter, Delmarva Power says in part, quote, "We respect the role of state leaders and regulators in this process, and we look forward to continuing a transparent discussion focused on reliability, affordability, and the long-term energy needs of Delaware families and businesses." Meanwhile, in Maryland, legislation to ban agreements with ICE is being fast-tracked through Annapolis. This week, the Maryland General Assembly passing 2 identical bills that would ban 287G agreements. The agreements allow local jurisdictions to work with ICE. Typically, the collaboration is done through a county jail or a detention center, but Wycomico County recently entered into a 287G agreement. That partnership could now be in jeopardy. So County Executive Julie Giordano says the county is weighing its options.
There always is a legal avenue to get legal opinions on a couple of things, and we've thought about exploring those options along with the 8 other counties that are involved, with 287G. But it is very difficult when you have a state government trying to dictate what federal agencies you can work with.
The legislation still has to clear a few hurdles in the General Assembly, including Governor Wes Moore's signature. Well, the FBI says there has been no follow-up communication connected to the apparent ransom letter linked to the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie, the mother of Today anchor Savannah Guthrie. However, investigators say the note included 2 deadlines, a first deadline that was 5 p.m. today and a second for next Monday. Sherelle Hubbard has a new message from the family tonight.
5 days into the search, investigators in Tucson, Arizona say there are no suspects yet in the mysterious disappearance of Nancy Guthrie. The FBI noted that there has been no proof of life so far and said the agency is investigating a purported ransom letter sent to at least 3 different media outlets.
So the ransom note that was distributed to the media did make a demand for 5 p.m. today. And if a transfer wasn't made, then I think a second demand was for next Monday. We're not going to go beyond that.
Authorities say they've arrested a California man who they accuse of sending an illegitimate ransom demand to the Guthrie family after Savannah Guthrie, her brother and sister, posted an emotional plea for the return of their mother.
She is without any medicine. She needs it to survive. She needs it not to suffer.
The family posting a new video and a renewed plea Thursday evening.
We have to know that you have our mom. We went to talk to you and we are waiting for contact.
The Pima County Sheriff also saying the Uber driver who picked up Nancy Guthrie Saturday night has been cleared in the case.
We think she's been very honest with us, very helpful and cooperative. We don't suspect her at all.
The FBI now offering a $50,000 reward for information leading to the recovery of Nancy Guthrie. I'm Sherelle Hubbard reporting.
The Pima County Sheriff also saying today, we believe Nancy is still out there and that she is alive, but they're urging patience with the investigation. And we are just getting started. More news coming up, like the Winter Games about to begin in Italy. Team USA bringing its biggest group ever, and why some say this Olympics is about unity, not just winning. And a bit later, Paul Williams in the CoastTV First Alert Weather Center. He's tracking your full forecast for you. But first, we have what goes into Delaware State Police's K9 unit, how these dogs are trained to become lifetime deputies. Up next.
We all see Delaware State Troopers when they're out and about patrolling, but there's a part of the job we don't see as often, the K9 units. As CoastTV's Brandon Ferguson shows us, these pups get all trained up so they become deputies.
When you think of K9 units, you might think of this. A police chase ending with the K9 biting the bad guy, or in this case, the decoy. But there's a lot more than just high-speed chases.
Do a variety of things, whether it's explosives odor or narcotics odor, and then searching for people, missing persons.
From the time DSP buys a dog, there is 6 months of training that takes place. From scent training.
Then they start air scenting, which is what you saw him doing, where he lifts his head up and he's smelling it high in the air as opposed to just in a line, so to speak, in an area on the ground.
And obedience training. This training went through police chases, traffic stops,
Keep back up, bud.
And scent tracking. Although this is Delaware State Police training, every K9 unit in Delaware follows the same course. No matter if you're a town police department or DENREC. In total, there are 30 DSP K9 units statewide, and if a K9 is needed, the closest available unit, no matter the department, will respond.
Yes, I worked at Troop 5, but I was the only dog in Sussex County. So at that time, I kind of listened to the radio, and if I knew something Troop 4 looks like they're may need a dog, I'll start that way.
A police K9 will spend anywhere from 10 to 12 years on duty.
After that time, each handler is offered the opportunity to adopt the dog, and we haven't had anybody not adopt their partner.
In the end, the badge may come off, but for these K9s and their handlers, the partnership never does. For Coastal Connections, I'm Brandon Ferguson.
Right now, we're just bracing ourselves for the real cold. I know it's 24 degrees right now, but literally, we're bracing ourselves for the real cold that's indeed on the way. 24 degrees, actually, ocean view, and we'll drop down to 23 and stay in the lower 20s for the rest of the evening, with the wind still becoming very feisty. In fact, so much so, A high wind watch is now in effect for the Cambridge-Linkwood area, but also it's in effect for all of Sussex, from Lewis to Georgetown to Del Mar to Frankfurt, all the way over towards Ocean View and for Ocean City as well. In addition to that, we have what's called a freezing spray watch, meaning basically if you're anywhere near the ocean and water hits you, it's going to freeze immediately, particularly as we go into Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday. And then overall, we have, generally speaking, a extreme cold watch in effect. Where you saw all the blue right there, that's where it's in effect for most of the Northeast. And I believe it's going to be inclusive of us here in the Delmarva Peninsula, because bottom line is it's just that kind of cold all over the place. Now, tomorrow, the irony is we're going to see some sunshine. It's going to be a pretty good-looking day. Increasing cloud cover, but the winds out of the northwest at about 10 miles per hour. Now, with that being the case, here's our expectations. We're looking for Friday about 6 o'clock in the morning. We're looking at about temperatures in the 20s. And then overall, we anticipate that it's going to continue to stay cool because we're only going to warm to like 33 degrees. After that, here comes the cold. Saturday is D-Day for the cold, okay? We're looking at 12 degrees. That's not the wind chill now. That's the temperature. Sunday morning, 5:30, 7, 8, 6 degrees. That's the temperature, not the wind chill. We'll get to that in a moment. Winds are going to be just slicing from the northwest at 50 miles per hour in Bethany Beach, 47 miles per hour for Rehoboth at 10 o'clock in the morning. And then up to 50 to 56 miles per hour by the afternoon. Saturday afternoon is going to be, meteorologically speaking, brutal. Okay? Just really uncomfortable. And that's going to be the case. Now, let's talk about how cold it's going to feel. Saturday, 7, 9, 10 degrees below. That's what's going to feel like Saturday afternoon. Saturday night, it's going to feel like 11, 12 degrees below zero. And then Sunday morning, we'll be gifted with a wind chill of 15, 14, and 13 degrees below, generally speaking. And then, by the way, Monday's not short stopping either, because we're going to have single digits below the norm there. So be mindful of the signs of hypothermia, including confusion, shivering, difficulty speaking and sleepiness, and stiff muscles. We'll have a brief flurry that'll push through, then it's out of the way. Tonight, 14, 34 for tomorrow, and then we're looking at 26 on Saturday with winds howling in such a way it will seem like it has an attitude with you. Finally, here's a look at the extended forecast. Yellow alert day for Saturday and for Sunday because of the cold.
Thanks, Paul. I guess all this cold means we only have one more day to wait until the Winter Olympics. The opening ceremony for the Winter Games is less than 24 hours away now, officially kicking off tomorrow. 19 days of Olympic competition. You can only see it right here on CoastTV. NBC's Jay Gray shows us the final preparations ahead of tomorrow night's celebration.
On the eve of the opening ceremony,
the excitement is really building. Really, you can just feel it.
then all signs seem to indicate northern Italy is ready for these games to begin.
Venues are ready. It's been done incredible work in the last few weeks, and it will be astounding. And you will notice that.
From the stadium and arenas in Milan to the slopes and sliding tracks in the mountains, these Winter Olympics will feature 16 sports and a record 116 events with 735 medals up for grabs. Team USA hoping to bring home its share and more with the largest American presence ever in a Winter Games, 232 athletes, and at least one famous friend snooping around Milan who says the gold, silver, or bronze won't necessarily define the winners here.
When we have the Olympics, it's what brings the world together. So you guys as athletes, y'all got a big mission at hand. It's not just winning your events or coming to, to put on a great performance, but it's the status of showing the world what love looks like.
An Olympic message that rings true for so many right now. Jay Gray, NBC News, Milan.
It all starts tomorrow, February 6th to the 22nd, only here on CoastTV. Also, you can tune in from February 9th to the 20th for special broadcasts of Jeopardy! Focused on the Olympics. And coming up tonight on the Delmarva Sports Network, the Delmarva Shorebirds held their annual hot stove banquet. Find out what keynote speaker Ken Singleton had to say. Plus, the annual Super Bowl food drive. It's back at the Food Bank of Delaware. How you can participate.
Here's a look at your Bay forecast. Watching out for a late night snow shower briefly before it's Friday night, but then the winds start howling on Saturday. We have a yellow alert day on Saturday and Sunday because of the cold. We're looking for a high of only 22 on Sunday.
This is Coast TV News at 11.
Looks like layoffs hit recession levels last month. That's according to a recent job replacement firm, Challenger Gray and Christmas. It says January saw 108,000 job cuts, and that's the highest number for a January since 2009, which was during the Great Recession. Before you panic, though, much of that number is due to just two companies. 40% of the job cuts happened at UPS and Amazon. It's not just job cuts, though. Labor Department figures for December, released Thursday, show the lowest level of job openings in 5 years. Nearly 800,000 people a year have a stroke in the U.S. Nearly 1 in 4 happen in patients who have had a previous stroke, according to the CDC. But today, new data was released on the study of a new investigational drug which could help prevent some strokes from happening again without the side effects of traditional therapies. Tonight, Mandy Gaither talks to one of the researchers about how this new medicine is different.
In the U.S., someone has a stroke every 40 seconds, and about 1 in 4 survivors have another stroke within 5 years. Part of traditional post-stroke treatment includes blood-thinning medications to help lower risk of another event, but it can come at a cost.
All blood thinners in some way raise the concern about an increased risk of bleeding.
Dr. Andrew Russman with Cleveland Clinic says post-stroke treatment options haven't changed much in decades, but he's one of the investigators studying the safety and efficacy of a new class of oral medications called Factor XIa inhibitors.
They work by preventing the pathologic or bad clots that occur in the body, but they don't seem to interfere with the good kind of clotting that's important for the normal healing process.
Researchers say a national clinical trial of a drug in this new class found evidence it reduces risk of recurrent stroke when added to standard therapies without increasing the risk of major bleeding.
It's a game changer in the care of acute stroke patients, and that's something that gives us hope that we can prevent stroke in a large population of patients and add on to existing therapies.
The manufacturer, Bayer, says the medicine has received fast-track designation from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration.
I think there is some anticipation that if this medication goes through this thoughtful review process, we would hope to see the drug available around this time next year.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
The Food Bank of Delaware is tackling hunger as its annual Super Bowl food drive returns. That's SOUPER. The big game this Sunday, and the Food Bank of Delaware is encouraging the community to donate canned soup with the goal of collecting more than 2,000 pounds by the end of the drive. Leaders say the donations directly support the healthy food pantries in Milford and Newark. And with the Super Bowl bringing people together, organizers say there's no better time to give back and help neighbors in need.
Especially this time of year and the cold weather and everything, we're seeing over 100 folks a day that are visiting our Healthy Pantry centers both in Newark and Milford. So having that soup there to give folks that's hearty, and everybody loves a bowl of soup on a cold day, is something that's really special this time of year.
The food bank says the drive runs through February 16th. And don't forget, the Super Bowl airs here on Coast TV Sunday. Pre-game starts at 1, kickoff is at 6:30. And after all the coverage, stay tuned for Coast TV News.
Good evening, Delmarva. I'm joined here with the legendary Ken Singleton, former Oriole and 1983 World Series champion, 3-time All-Star during his playing career as well. And Ken, it's an honor to be in your presence right here as you're about to be the keynote speaker at the Hot Stove Banquet for the Delmarva Shorebirds. I mean, just real quick, just talk to me about what it means to be back here and, now one of the really building blocks of the Orioles Foundation to be able to hype up the fans to get ready for the season.
Well, when the players start out in an organization, they move up the ladder, and this is one of the steps they're going to have to take. It was a long time ago, but I was in A-ball once. I came up through the Mets organization, and my first stop was Winter Haven in the Florida State League, which seems like eons ago because it was. And, you know, in those days, you know, you're not making much money. You're just hoping that maybe I can move up the ladder. And fortunately for me, I remember when I went away to play baseball, my dad said, "You think you're doing the right thing?" I said, "Dad, I want to get my professional career started." I would say nobody said it's going to be easy. I mean, even the best players, you know, have rough times where they go into slumps, and it seems like you're never going to get another hit. I've been through that myself. But you got to persevere through it. You know, little broken bat single can get you going in the other direction. You know, I have a grandson that plays ball up in.
To listen to the full sit down with Orioles legend Ken Singleton, head over to DelmarvaSportsNetwork.com. Reporting for DS.
Here's a look at your exclusive 10-day forecast.
Thanks again, Paul, and thank you for joining us for the news at 11 tonight. You can always find more news and weather on our Coast TV News app. The Tonight Show is up next, and we're back at 5 a.m. Have a good one.